You are the bigger dog in the fight, but not out here. Welcome in, everybody. Today is January 11th, week 2, The Crossing. We are still in the month of January, which is all about the month between worlds, the seeker crossing the veil. Today's theme is Assistance Arrives. So our 4 stories come from Egyptian, Celtic, Native, and Persian folklore. So here are your 4 stories. Enjoy! Before we begin, I want to take a moment to honor the cultures behind the stories we are about to explore. The tales shared here come from many peoples, lands, and traditions. I do not change these stories to fit modern expectations or to align with today's social standards. Instead, I present them as they were told, sometimes beautiful, sometimes harsh, sometimes challenging. We are not here to judge the past, but to understand it, to listen, to learn, and to honor the ancestors who carried these stories forward. We also share stories from various religious traditions. These are presented in their historical and spiritual context, with respect for their beliefs that they represent. Every culture deserves respect, context, and acknowledgement, and this space is dedicated to doing exactly that. Story 1. Anubis leads the soul. In the ancient Egyptian understanding of death, the soul was never meant to walk alone. When a person died, their journey did not end. It began again in a realm that demanded guidance, precision, and truth. The path beyond life was dangerous, not because it was cruel, but because it was exacting. This was the domain of Anubis. Anubis was not a god of punishment, he was a god of transition. His role was to guide the dead safely from the world of the living into the realm where judgment and continuation awaited. Depicted with the head of a jackal, Anubis stood at the edge of tombs and thresholds. Jackals were scavengers of burial grounds, creatures that moved easily between the living world and the dead. The Egyptians understood this not as something unclean, but as necessary. Anubis met the soul at the moment of death. He did not speak harshly, he did not hurry, he did not abandon. He took the soul by the hand and led it through the dua, the perilous underworld filled with gates, guardians, and trials meant to confuse or halt the unprepared. Without guidance, a soul could wander endlessly, unable to reach judgment or rest. Anubis ensured the soul arrived intact. At the weighing of the heart, Anubis placed the heart of the deceased on a scale opposite the feather of Ma'at, goddess of truth and balance. The heart held memory, intention, and moral weight. It could not lie. Anubis did not decide the outcome. He ensured the process was fair. If the heart balanced true, the soul passed onward to the field of reeds. If it failed, it was consumed by Ammit, and existence ended. Even then, Anubis did not interfere. His duty was guidance, not rescue. In Egyptian belief, fear did not summon Anubis. Need did. He was present whenever a soul crossed from one state to another. His presence reassured the living that death was not chaos, and reassured the dead that they were seen. Anubis did not carry the soul's burden. He showed the way. The story teaches that guidance does not remove responsibility, but it ensures the journey is possible. When the path becomes unfamiliar, and the stakes are highest, help appears not to change the outcome, but to keep the traveler from being lost. No soul was meant to cross alone. Story 2. The Fairy Guardian. In the old Celtic lands, guidance rarely arrived announcing itself. It did not wear crowns or carry staffs. It did not declare authority. It appeared quietly, at the edge of vision, where the world thins. Scottish folklore tells of fairy guardians who watch travelers crossing dangerous ground, moors swallowed by mist, glens where sound bends strangely, paths that vanish at dusk. These beings are not benevolent in the modern sense, nor are they malicious. They are keepers of thresholds. The Fae belong to the other world, a realm that overlaps the human world but obeys different laws. Time moves differently there. Direction shifts. Intention matters more than strength. A traveler who walks with arrogance, greed, or mockery is left unguided. A traveler who walks with humility may be helped without realizing it. Stories tell of wanderers who hear a bell ring once, causing them to stop just before stepping into a bog. Others describe a sudden urge to turn back, or a fox crossing the path at the exact moment danger waits ahead. Some speak of a voice calling their name, though no one is there. The fairy guardian rarely speaks directly. Its guidance is subtle, easily dismissed as coincidence. In one common tale, a shepherd becomes lost in the hills as fog rolls in. His path disappears. Panic rises. Just as fear begins to overtake him, a small figure appears briefly on a ridge, walking ahead. The shepherd follows, not because he understands, but because stillness feels worse. When the fog lifts, the figure is gone. The shepherd finds himself safely near home. He never sees the guardian again. Celtic tradition warns that gratitude must be quiet. To boast of fairy help invites misfortune. Guidance given freely must not be claimed as entitlement. The fairy guardian does not save, it redirects. In these stories, help arrives only when the traveler has reached the limit of their own certainty, when maps fail, when confidence collapses, when listening becomes more important than knowing. The lesson carried through generations is clear. Not all guides appear as teachers. Some appear as interruptions, hesitations, or instinctive turns that feel irrational in the moment. To be guided, one must be willing to pause and to trust what cannot be explained. Story 3. The Spirit Bear. Along the misted coasts and deep forests of the Pacific Northwest, guidance does not always arrive in human form. Sometimes it walks on 4 legs. Among several indigenous nations of the region, including the Tsimshian, Haida, Gitxsan, Kitasoo, and Kai, stories are told of the spirit bear, often understood through the rare white-furred bear known today as the Kermode bear. The spirit bear is not an omen of death, it is a reminder. In the old stories, the world was once reshaped by ice. When the glaciers retreated and the land began to heal, Raven made an agreement with the Great Spirit. 1 in every 10 bears would be white, not to blend into snow, but to remember it. The bear would carry memory through generations. To encounter a spirit bear was not something to seek. It happened only when a person was lost, not always physically, but inwardly. Hunters tell of following tracks too long, of wandering deeper than planned, of realizing the forest had grown unfamiliar. In these moments, fear rises quietly. Panic tempts the traveler to rush, to force direction, to override instinct. That is when the bear appears. Not charging, not threatening, simply present. The spirit bear does not block the path. It does not lead overtly. It meets the eyes of the traveler and waits. In that stillness, the forest grows quiet. Breath slows. The mind returns to the body. Some stories say the bear turns and walks away, leaving clear ground where before there was confusion. Others say the bear vanishes, and the traveler realizes they know where they are again. The guidance is not instruction. It is recentering. In indigenous understanding, the spirit bear is a teacher of humility. To encounter it is to be reminded that humans are not masters of the land. They are participants. The bear does not escort. It does not command. It restores balance simply by being. Those who encounter the spirit bear are expected to change afterward. They walk more carefully. They listen longer. They remember that guidance does not always come when asked, but when needed. The bear does not belong to the traveler. The traveler belongs to the land. And sometimes, the land answers by sending a guide who does not speak. Story 4. The Simorg, Mentor of Kings. In Persian tradition, guidance is not always gentle. Sometimes it is vast. The Simorg is not a creature one encounters by accident. It is an ancient being, older than kingdoms, older than heroes, older than the mountains it nests upon. Its wings are said to span centuries. Its knowledge carries the memory of the world. The Simorg does not seek disciples. It responds to need. In the Shahnameh, the Persian Book of Kings, the Simorg appears when a child is abandoned. Zal, born with white hair and pale skin, is cast out by his father, who believes him cursed. The infant is left to die in the wilderness. The Simorg finds him. It does not question the cruelty of humans. It does not intervene in their affairs directly. It gathers the child and raises him in the mountain's nest, teaching him survival, wisdom, and restraint. Zal grows not as a king, but as a human shaped by patience and distance from power. When the time comes for Zal to return to the world of men, the Simorg does not cling. It releases him. Before parting, the Simorg gives Zal a single feather and says that if he ever faces a trial beyond his strength, he need only burn it. The Simorg will come, not to fight his battles, but to remind him of what he already knows. Years later, when Zal's son Rostam is born in danger, the feather is burned. The Simorg appears and instructs, not by acting, but by teaching. It shows Zal how to save the child. Then it departs again. The Simorg does not stay. That is the lesson. In Persian thought, the highest guidance does not create dependence. It equips the seeker to act rightly when the guide is gone. The mentor appears at moments of abandonment and withdrawal, not to remove hardship, but to ensure survival through wisdom. The Simorg represents divine intelligence that refuses to dominate. It offers clarity, then steps back into myth. Those guided by it must finish their journey alone. Guidance, in this tradition, is not a hand to hold forever. It is a preparation to walk without one. Hey everybody, welcome back in. You are back in with Jane and Mark. All right, so our 4 stories today were all about assistance arrives. The lesson of today was that you are never abandoned. So regardless of where you are in life, you are never fully abandoned. And the day's thread is that guidance appears across cultures in different forms. Anubis walks beside the soul. The faerie redirects without being seen. The spirit bear restores balance through presence. And the Simorg teaches, then departs. Each story carries the same truth. Guidance arrives when the path becomes uncertain, not to decide for us, but to keep us from being lost. What did you think about that? What did you think about the 4 stories?
So a couple things. One, I I really enjoyed the fact that we could hear the same story. So anybody that didn't know, we did have a repeat story today. I love that you can and listen to the same story, but listen to it with a different point of view.
Yeah, and it
It
was written differently, so it
mm-hmm,
wasn't the same exact story, but it was the same legend. It was the same tale
mm-hmm.
being re-explained or re-described in a different lens.
And what's cool about that is that's how you read books, right? Like how you've told me
Mm,
that's how you read books. So it's kind of interesting to now see it like in this perspective. Like that's how you do it. Now I got to like legit visualize how pretty much how you do it, like
yeah, I do
personally.
like to read books and focus on one character at a time. Not
That's neat.
like the first time. The first time I dive into the story,
Mm-hmm.
but then when I start like getting favorites or something, I'll reread it.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll just be from the lens of them.
This is the most interesting way. I'm sure a bunch of people do it. I had personally never heard of someone doing this. What else? I thought it was super cool that the first story was something to do with us, 100%,
Yeah, it was completely about being in the duat.
right? And so anybody that doesn't know, we just published our first book right here, and it's within the duat. So it's just really neat that these stories were set. She didn't really look too much into where we're putting them, and it's just fun how everything's falling into place. Mm-hmm.
The jackal is like always seen as this mythical character that's just like a scavenger.
Mm.
But I mean, we only believe that it's a mythical character because we haven't found bodies of it in that vast desert.
The desert that we've only explored maybe 1% of,
Yeah.
and have no clue what's under there. Yeah, I like the show. We were watching this cool show the other day, and it talking about the Sahara Desert and how we've only explored maybe 1%, and just because all the sands and stuff, and they were explaining how no, those sands were not there. That was a tropical paradise at one point in time. I know
Yeah.
the second story.
The fairy guardians.
Yeah, that one for whatever reason definitely kind of gave me a little bit of a lip quiver. Like it made me, I felt the emotion of it. Like that person that feels lost, and you're like, ah, you almost give up hope, and then you look, and then you see something, and then you get that small glimmer of hope right when you're ready to quit. And you're like, wait, okay, no, I saw something. I know I saw something, so I'm gonna go over there. And then you go, and then next thing you know, you're right where you need to be without issue. I spent way too long worrying for no reason, and everything ended up working out because things like the stories of today, you're not left alone. There is a guide for you. And I just think that's beautiful because it's just showing you, or reassuring us that yes, it's there.
Yeah, and these are all different kinds of assistance. I mean, you think of it as like your guide is there to help you, yeah. But Anubis he's there literally to tell you, I see you.
Right.
Like that's Anubis's job, you know? And then the fairy guardians of Scotland, I mean, it's Celtic, but that one heavily came out of Scotland
Right.
lore. They're there to just slightly keep you on track. Just that little bit of don't lose hope, I
Mm-hmm.
think is what the fairies are, you know. And then the spirit bear, you go into that, and it is a big boy. I mean, like you panic, that could be the end.
Yeah.
Like he forces you into stillness.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but then the sea morgue, I mean, it teaches and then departs. So it just says, here's everything you can do. Now you can do it. I like that the purpose of the guide is so that when they're not there, you can still make it without them. Like their entire purpose is to help you remember that you can do it by yourself,
Right.
but you don't have to. And you're not.
Yeah.
Like there's so many things witnessing you
Mm-hmm.
that seem insignificant to us because we do lose hope. I mean, we die before someone stands there and goes, I see you.
Right.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool that the guides, all of these come out of some sort of stillness, some sort of quiet. I just am a sucker for Anubis. It just makes you feel a little bit better about the unknown of death. Is thinking that there's someone there that's going to be like, yeah, I see you.
Hey,
like someone there that at the end will hold you.
Yeah.
And like the cool thing about it, and we have this in our book too, Anubis is that quiet reassurance, you know, in our book. He says, what, 3 words maybe? He sees you for who you are. There's no false illusions. There's no like that BS that we can hide and be charismatic, or we can be amazing people because we struggle socially. We don't seem like it. Like Anubis sees you for who you are. The fairy guardians see you for who you are becoming. Right? And then I think that the spirit bear and Seymour, they see you for all of that, but also what you can become. Should you choose to. That quiet reassurance that someone would stand there knowing every aspect of you and still choose to be your guide. Because that's the thing, is that it is a choice.
Right.
Every time. And then the guides are so underappreciated because then they just let you go.
Yeah.
And it's like they can be the comedic relief. They can be, I mean, I talked to you about that one book, Touching Spirit Bear. I used to read to the 7th graders. It was honestly a great book because that spirit bear embodied that guy's personality and beat the life out of him almost.
Yeah.
To where that kid could not get up. He was eating his own throw up pretty much because he was left there, and that was part of the thing, was the isolation. But the fact too that your guardian can be whatever you need it to be. You know, it could be that quiet, I see you, but it could also be that total ass whooping. That's why I loved that spirit bear adaptation, because it was, you think that because you're broken you get to break others.
Ooh. I like that.
We allow people to do that, and we're like, oh, well, hurt people hurt people.
Yeah, but why should we
allow
it?
Why should I suffer because of the person that hurt you? That doesn't mean you deserve to suffer either.
Right, exactly. But it's...
But the fact that
Neither
the
do
spirit
I.
bear did, in
Yeah.
that case,
Right.
show him what it was like, what he made other people feel like. You are the bigger dog in the fight, but not out here.
Right.
Not when you're faced with yourself. And that's who the spirit bear became.
Yeah.
That boy. And like all that rage and stuff. And I love it because all of these things are saying you matter. It really didn't matter whether you were wealthy or not. Anubis was there. Like that whole, you can take it with you in the afterlife. Yeah, they tried. But regardless, that guide was there. You know, so the fairies, they see that you have potential. They're there. You know, the spirit bear restores balance through just being present. And I mean, I look back on the story, and 1 in 10 will be white. Not exactly the most peaceful bear.
No.
To be thinking as a spirit bear. Could you imagine, though, being in a position where, let's for a second just say it is what they're describing, and let's just say it's a polar bear.
So that's the first thing that popped into my head.
You
is a polar
believe
bear.
whatever you may believe, but let's say that deep down, what they were saying was polar bears. You think that a polar bear walking peacefully by you would not be the most humbling, life-changing experience? A polar bear, which is I believe, is still the only bear that will actively hunt a human after it catches its scent.
Just for fun.
Imagine that. You can see the spirit bear, just so humbling. you aren't the fastest on land or in the water compared to
Right.
that thing.
Yep.
Like, you cannot escape that animal. And that's what's so humbling about it. But also, I could imagine just you see people that are friends with big bears.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they have connections with them. And people are like, yeah, it's dangerous. Yeah, it is. But when you connect with anything on that level, there is that mutual, like, it's partnership.
Right.
It's not like love or anything in the sense of like romance or like that, but it is like that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And so I could imagine that the elders, and thinking that one in particular was in Canada, so it comes from a number of different cultures, a spirit bear, watching Brother Bear and sing in Canada, and how the elder who traveled, she was the one that traveled all the time, she had these connections with animals. They recognized her.
Right.
She could walk through the bison and they aren't like running at you, which they will,
Yeah.
but they can feel that vibration too. Like, oh, that's someone that's with the land too.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Well, yeah, it's just like for so many years they lived with the animals in the land, and then all of a sudden that disruption of like the new way of doing everything kind of like made that disruption. But it's still there, and we can still get there because I mean, look at the video that I showed you yesterday of that rodeo bull. So there's this bull, and it looked like it was ready to mess this dude up. Well, this dude, in the title, it says, man that used to feed the bull or whatever. But as soon as it walked up, the bull, like, its tail started wagging around. And I was like, what the? Okay. It was just,
Well,
it
you
was
see
cute. It was
people,
funny.
lions, the lions that have recognized their people.
And they go running after them. Any type of animal, like the little chimps, the
I
little
need
monkeys,
to see
those are cute.
That guy, that actually reminds me, this guy, I saw this story years ago. He kind of just, whatever in America, he was doing his job, whatever, just kind of left
Yeah.
and went to Africa, and now he is someone in charge of this reserve. Like, he made it to protect animals, but he just, I really need to find out who it was. It was a long time ago, but he left his like high paying job, this like in society within the matrix. He had become prosperous because of the matrix. He fell in, he knew how it worked, did it, and then just it wasn't fulfilling.
Mm-hmm.
So he just left.
I love that for him.
And he took very little of like material things, I think, and just went down there. Then I used to watch videos of him. He's like sitting under this tree and you see this lion like creeping up on him. And it's because like it goes and it like plays with him. So he'll be like, hey. And
I think
it'll
I've
play with
seen
him.
who you're talking about.
Yeah, because
That
he
kinda...
saved them and stuff. And he was seeing all of the poachers continuously going down there. And then you see the Tiger King and all of that stuff. And just we think because we can talk and communicate easier, that we can just take the beauties of this world and put them in cages and sell them.
Right.
And I don't know, it just made me feel good just thinking about him and going, yeah, no, he went, I get it. This society that we've created is not fulfilling.
Right. It's not.
So I'd rather go be with animals, I'd rather go do something that helps living creatures, because in all actuality, how many of us actually have a job like that anymore?
How many?
And you can say you do, but how many institutions now are we like looking like we have to rewrite the institution of everything almost? Education system, the judicial system. Who's actually helping who? Is it people that have all just refused to go work these 9 to 5, work 30 years and then retire? Everyone that refuses, that stays home and is like talking and solving and creating stuff. Those are the people that I think are helping.
Right.
Yet those are the people that society tells us to look down on the most. Because, oh, well, you just don't want to work. No, this is a lot of work.
What we're doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't want.
This is more work than my regular job for me right now. Like 100%. I got to do way more stuff.
This
with
is more fulfilling. Like this.
Yeah.
If it was just teaching when I was an educator,
Yeah.
would have been great, would have loved it, but it's not. It's politics.
Right.
And it's like, I don't want to be involved in politics. There are two sides for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Well, so they can have the division.
Yeah, and I just don't care.
No.
Like, I think if you're a good person, you're a good person. If what you're doing is wrong, then what you're doing is wrong.
Right.
Doesn't mean you're a bad person. Do I think there are bad people out there? 100%.
Yep.
But they're the same people that do one thing and we praise them for it. So we ignore the negatives that they're impacting, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like those organizations. Well, we get to go see them and it's a great experience, but the horrors behind the scenes. Hey, everybody. Sorry, it's just me right now. We ran into some technical difficulties, so I am just popping in to share the daily task and the application for today. So today was all about the guides. You saw a lot of the stuff about when assistance arrives and that you are never abandoned. Your activity for the day or your task is to ask fate one honest question. So you're going to ask fate one honest question today to acknowledge that guidance exists beyond your control. This is all just centering around the fact that help appears when you are willing to notice it. Your reflection question for today was, who guides you now? Who is the person guiding you now? Whether it is an actual person, an animal, a belief, a feeling, whatever it may be, who is guiding you now? So keeping all of that in mind, help always appears when you are willing to notice it. So the second that you are willing to notice the help is usually when it will appear. So for today, ask fate that one question and think about who is guiding you now. And we'll see you tomorrow with hopefully less technical difficulties. Thank you for walking this journey with me today. These stories are more than folklore. They are the heartbeat of our world building, the inspiration behind our characters, and the soul of the Legends Reborn Chronicles. By exploring these tales, we honor the past, ignite the present, and breathe life into the legends we're creating together. To see more of Mark and I, as well as additional scenes, discussions, and healing, check the links below that will lead you to our various social media platforms. Please also feel free to ask any questions or leave any comments in the episode below or in future episodes to come. We would love to hear from you. Until next time, may your path be guided by wonder, curiosity, and the magic of the stories that came before us. Blessings, and I'll see you on our next folklore journey.